Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you've been searching for, happiness, peace, purpose, was never something you had to chase. It's not out there in the world, waiting for you in a job, a relationship, or an achievement. It has been inside you all along, quietly waiting for you to notice it. You don't need to force life to happen. You don't have to constantly fight against circumstances trying to mold the world into your vision of happiness. What if I told you that the real transformation you're looking for isn't about changing your surroundings, but about changing how you see yourself? What if everything you need to feel whole is already within you, waiting for you to trust it? That's the heart of Living in the Light by Shakti Gawain, a book that has guided millions of people to unlock their inner power, reconnect with their intuition, and create a life that feels deeply aligned and authentic. For so many of us, life feels like a tug of war between who we are and who the world expects us to be. We're taught to follow the rules, meet expectations, and fit into roles that seem safe and acceptable. But deep inside, we know there's something more. A quiet, persistent voice telling us that we are meant for something greater. Hey everyone, I'm Bix, and welcome back to Bix Book Summary, where we break down life-changing books in a way that's engaging, practical, and easy to apply. Today we're diving into Living in the Light, a book that will help you awaken your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, and start living with confidence and purpose. If you've ever felt lost, disconnected, or unsure of your path, this book will show you how to tune into your intuition and trust yourself completely. Understand why real transformation happens from the inside out. Break free from old beliefs that are holding you back. Stop struggling against life and start living in flow. Create a life of authenticity, joy, and abundance. Now, this isn't just about positive thinking. It's not about sitting back and hoping life works out. It's about learning to listen to yourself, really listen, and trust that you already have the answers. It's about stepping into your higher purpose, bringing your true self into everything you do, and watching your life shift in ways you never imagined. And the first step? Learning to trust the most powerful force you have, your intuition. For most of our lives, we've been conditioned to trust logic over intuition. We're taught to analyze, plan, and seek external validation before making decisions. But have you ever had a moment where something just felt right, or, on the flip side, felt completely wrong? Even if you couldn't explain why? That subtle, instinctive knowing is your intuition speaking to you, a voice that's always been there, but often gets drowned out by overthinking and societal expectations. Shakti Gawain reveals that intuition isn't just some abstract, mystical force. It's our deepest wisdom, a direct connection to the universe, and one of the most powerful guides we have. It's that quiet, unshakable knowing that doesn't need logical proof because it simply knows. But instead of trusting it, we often override it with logic, fear, and self-doubt. Think about the times you've ignored your gut feeling. Maybe you accepted a job that looked perfect on paper but felt off deep down. Maybe you stayed in a relationship that drained you emotionally because it seemed practical. Every time we dismiss our inner guidance, we move further away from the path that's truly meant for us. And yet, when we do listen, when we trust those quiet nudges and act on them, life becomes clearer, decisions feel easier, and everything starts falling into place in ways we never expected. So, how do we begin strengthening our intuition? Start by practicing with small, everyday choices. The next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, pause. Take a breath. Instead of overanalyzing, ask yourself, what feels right? Notice the very first response that comes up before doubt and logic step in. That's your intuition. At first, it might feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, because we've spent so much of our lives ignoring it. But the more you listen, trust, and act on it, the stronger and more natural it becomes. Living in the Light starts with this simple yet powerful shift, moving from fear-based thinking to intuition-led living. And once you take that step, something incredible happens. Life begins to flow. Obstacles seem to dissolve, the right opportunities show up at the right time, and you start feeling more in sync with the world around you. And that's exactly what we'll dive into next. How aligning with your intuition transforms not just your decisions, but your entire reality. Have you ever felt like you're constantly pushing, forcing, or struggling to make things happen? Like no matter how hard you try, things just don't seem to fall into place? We've been conditioned to believe that success comes from control, relentless effort, and sheer willpower. We're told that if we just work harder, if we just push through, everything will eventually go our way. But what if the real secret to a fulfilling life wasn't about forcing outcomes, but about flowing with them? Shakti Gawain introduces a perspective that flips everything we've been taught. What if life is already guiding us exactly where we need to go, and all we have to do is align with it? She explains that when we resist the natural flow of life, we create unnecessary struggle. We chase relationships that aren't meant for us, force careers that drain us, and cling to beliefs that keep us stuck. But when we stop resisting, when we learn to trust the direction life is taking us, we unlock a sense of ease, fulfillment, and opportunity that we could never have planned on our own. Think of a river. If you try to swim against the current, it's exhausting. You feel drained, frustrated, and like you're getting nowhere. But if you let go, trust the movement of the water, and flow with it, the journey becomes easier, even enjoyable. That's what it means to live in flow, releasing control and allowing life to unfold in a way that feels natural, rather than trying to force it into a shape it was never meant to take. One of the most powerful ways to step into flow is by letting go of control. Not in a passive way, but in a trusting way. It's about shifting from forcing to allowing. Instead of clinging to rigid expectations, ask yourself, what feels natural? What opportunities are presenting themselves to me right now? When you begin following these subtle signs instead of resisting them, you'll start noticing synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, chance encounters, and the right things happening at the right time. This doesn't mean life will be free of challenges, but instead of fighting against obstacles, you begin to see them differently. A delay might actually be a redirection. A failure might be a necessary step towards something greater. And setbacks start to feel less like roadblocks and more like stepping stones, guiding you toward a path that truly aligns with who you are. When you live in flow, everything shifts. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. You become more open, more present, and more connected to the life that's waiting for you. And as you begin embracing this way of living, something even more powerful happens. You start letting go of the fears, doubts, and beliefs that have been holding you back all along. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Most of us are living under invisible rules, unspoken beliefs we've absorbed from society, family, and past experiences that quietly shape how we see ourselves in the world. These beliefs dictate what we think is possible, what we think we deserve, and how we react to life's challenges. But here's the truth. Most of these beliefs aren't even ours. Shakti Gawain explains that throughout our lives, we unconsciously pick up limiting beliefs, ideas that feel like absolute truths, but are actually just deeply ingrained stories. Stories like, I have to work hard to be successful. I'm not good enough. Happiness is something I'll find once I achieve this or that. I should always put others before myself. But what if these beliefs aren't actually true? What if they're just programs running in the background, keeping us small, afraid, and disconnected from our true potential? She teaches that the first step in transformation is becoming aware of the beliefs that are shaping your reality. Ask yourself, what are the thoughts that constantly play in my mind? Do they empower me, or do they keep me stuck? Once you identify a limiting belief, challenge it. If you've always believed, I'm not good enough, ask yourself, is that really true? Where did I learn this? Who told me this? What if I chose to believe something different? This process isn't about forcing positive thinking. It's about unlearning the false narratives that no longer serve you and replacing them with beliefs that align with your highest self. It's about rewriting your own story. One of the most powerful ways to break free from these old patterns is through affirmations. Consciously choosing new, empowering thoughts and repeating them daily until they become your new reality. Instead of saying, I'm not enough, start affirming, I am worthy. I trust myself. I am creating a life that aligns with my truth. When you change your beliefs, you change your life, because your outer world is always a reflection of your inner world. The limits you experience externally are often the ones you've accepted internally. And as you begin letting go of old limitations, something incredible happens. You start stepping into your true power, your authentic self, the version of you that was never broken, never lacking, just waiting to be fully realized. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. For so much of our lives, we try to fit in, to be what others expect, to follow the rules, to do what's considered right by society's standards. We mold ourselves to fit into roles, meet expectations, and gain approval, thinking that this is the path to happiness and success. But in the process, we often lose something far more valuable, our connection to who we truly are. Shakti Gawain reminds us that personal transformation isn't about becoming someone new, it's about remembering who you've always been. Beneath the layers of conditioning, fears, and external expectations lies your true, authentic self, waiting to be rediscovered. But what does it actually mean to be authentic? It means listening to your inner voice instead of being drowned out by the noise of the outside world. Following your own path, even if it doesn't look like what others expect. Speaking your truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. Honoring your desires, dreams, and intuition, instead of suppressing them to make others happy. The moment you start embracing your authenticity, everything shifts. You stop looking for approval. You stop trying to be everything for everyone. You begin making choices that align with your heart, your intuition, and your deepest truth. And in doing so, you step into a kind of power that isn't based on external validation, but on an unshakable inner knowing. But stepping into your authentic self requires courage. It means letting go of the roles that no longer fit, setting boundaries even when it's uncomfortable, and being okay with the fact that not everyone will understand or support your journey. One of the biggest blocks to authenticity is the fear of rejection. We fear that if we show up as our true selves, we might lose relationships, opportunities, or security. But here's the paradox. The more you embrace who you really are, the more aligned relationships, opportunities, and experiences you attract. The right people will resonate with your truth, and the ones who don't were never truly meant for you. And something even more powerful happens. When you live authentically, you give others permission to do the same. You become an example of what's possible. You radiate confidence, joy, and freedom. You start moving through life with a sense of ease, because you're no longer trying to be something. You're simply being yourself. And that's when life truly begins to unfold in magical ways. And once you start living as your true self, the next step is learning how to create your reality with intention and purpose. Because when you align with who you truly are, you gain the power to shape your life in ways you never thought possible. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Once you start living authentically, you realize something truly transformative. Your reality is not just something that happens to you. You are actively creating it. Most people go through life in a reactive state, believing that their happiness, success, and fulfillment are dictated by external circumstances. If things go well, they feel good. If things fall apart, they feel lost. But Shakti Gawain teaches that life is a mirror. It reflects our inner world. The thoughts we think, the emotions we dwell in, and the beliefs we hold all shape our reality, often in ways we don't even realize. This is where conscious creation comes in. Instead of drifting through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever comes your way, you begin to set clear intentions and align your energy with what you truly desire. You shift from passively experiencing life to actively co-creating it. But how does this actually work? It's not about sitting back and hoping things magically change. It's about learning how to intentionally shape your reality through a combination of mindset, energy, and action. To consciously create the life you want, you must clarify what you truly desire. Take a step back from society's expectations and ask yourself, what do I genuinely want? What kind of relationships, career, and personal growth would truly fulfill me? The key is to connect with what feels right in your soul, not just what looks good on paper. Visualize it as already real. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the joy, confidence, and excitement. See yourself in that new reality. Your mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and vividly imagined, so this practice rewires your energy to align with your vision. Align your energy with what you want. The external world responds to the energy you put out. If you're constantly living in doubt, fear, or scarcity, you'll keep attracting situations that reinforce those emotions. But if you move through life with confidence, joy, and gratitude, you naturally draw in experiences that match that higher vibration. Take inspired action. Manifestation isn't just about thinking, it's about doing. Once you set your intention, stay open to opportunities, follow your intuition, and take the steps that life presents. Trust the process, and act when you feel guided. The universe responds to movement. The beauty of this process is that it's not about forcing things to happen. It's about opening yourself up to the natural flow of life and working with the universe rather than struggling against it. But here's the challenge. One of the biggest obstacles to manifestation is fear and self-doubt. Even when we know what we want, we sometimes hesitate because deep down, we don't fully believe we're worthy of it. That's why the next step in living in the light is learning to let go of fear, release limiting beliefs, and fully trust the unfolding of life. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Even when we start stepping into our power, embracing our authentic selves, and setting clear intentions, fear still finds a way to creep in. What if things don't work out? What if I fail? What if I lose everything I've built? These thoughts can be paralyzing, keeping us stuck in the comfort of the familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves us. But Shakti Gawain teaches that fear isn't a sign to stop, it's a sign that you're growing. Fear only has power over us when we avoid it, suppress it, or try to run from it. But when we face it head-on, something incredible happens. We see it for what it truly is, just an illusion. Think about it. How many times have you feared something only for it to never actually happen? Or even if it did happen, it wasn't nearly as bad as you imagined. The mind is wired to create worst-case scenarios, but in reality, most fears aren't based on present truth. They're echoes from past experiences, conditioning, and self-doubt. The Stoics had a practice called negative visualization, where they would imagine the worst possible outcome, not to dwell in fear, but to recognize that even in the worst-case scenario, they would still survive. This exercise shifts our perspective, showing us that fear is often just resistance to the unknown. And once we stop resisting, we reclaim our power. But how do we actually let go of fear and start trusting life? Shakti offers one of the simplest but most powerful shifts. Move from control to trust. Most of us try to control every aspect of our lives because uncertainty feels terrifying. But the more we try to control, the more resistance we create. The real transformation happens the moment we stop forcing and start trusting. And trust doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means doing your part while knowing that the universe is working with you. It's like planting a seed. You water it, give it sunlight, and care for it, but you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the process. You trust that nature knows exactly what to do. Letting go of fear isn't something that happens overnight. It's a daily practice. Every time doubt creeps in, remind yourself, everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. I don't have to force things. I just have to align with my truth. I am safe, supported, and guided at all times. The moment you begin to trust, something incredible happens. You start experiencing synchronicities, unexpected blessings, and opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. This is the magic of living in the light. And once you start living from trust instead of fear, the final step is learning how to stay in alignment with this new way of being, so you can continue evolving, growing, and shining your light into the world. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Transformation isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey. You don't just wake up one day completely enlightened, free of doubts, and effortlessly aligned with your highest self. Growth happens in layers, in cycles, in waves. Some days you'll feel completely in tune with your intuition, moving through life with ease and clarity. Other days you might feel lost, disconnected, or uncertain, and that's okay. Shakti Gawain reminds us that living in the light isn't about achieving some perfect state of being. It's about awareness. It's about making a conscious choice, every single day, to return to your truth, your intuition, and your purpose. Even when you slip back into fear, doubt, or old patterns, You always have the power to realign and find your way back. So how do you stay connected to this way of living? How do you keep yourself in alignment? The first key is daily awareness. Every morning, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask, am I living from my truth today? Am I making choices from love or from fear? When you start your day with intention, you naturally align with a higher state of being. Another powerful practice is trusting your emotions as a guide. Your feelings are like an internal compass. They let you know when you're in alignment and when you're not. If something feels heavy, draining, or off, don't ignore it. Instead, ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? If a situation is depleting you, maybe it's time to set boundaries. If an opportunity excites you, maybe it's a sign to step forward. And perhaps the most important practice of all is self-compassion. You're human. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, or fear, but instead of judging yourself for it, embrace it as part of the journey. Growth isn't about reaching some flawless destination. It's about learning to be present with yourself as you evolve. Every moment is a new chance to realign, to choose trust over fear, and to keep moving forward. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You stop resisting life and start flowing with it. You trust yourself. You make choices that feel right at a soul level. And in doing so, something even more powerful happens. You don't just transform your life, you become a light for others. And that brings us to the final and most profound lesson, how to share your light with the world, so you not only evolve personally, but also inspire those around you. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. When you begin to live in the light, trusting your intuition, following your path, and embracing your authentic self, something truly incredible happens. Your transformation doesn't just change you, it creates a ripple effect, influencing the people around you in ways you may not even realize. Shakti Gawain explains that when you shine your light, you give others permission to do the same. Think about it, when you meet someone who is deeply aligned, confident, and at peace with themselves, you feel their energy. Their presence alone is inspiring. They don't have to say anything or try to convince you of anything. You just sense their inner freedom, and it sparks something inside you. This is what happens when you start living as your most authentic self. You don't have to try to inspire others. Just by being who you truly are, you naturally become a source of light for those around you. But here's the key. Your job is not to change others. You don't need to convince people to live differently, force them to wake up, or try to fix anyone. Your only responsibility is to embody the truth you've discovered. When you live with joy, confidence, and authenticity, people notice. They start asking what's different about you. And when they ask, you share. Not by preaching, not by telling them what to do, just by sharing your experiences, your insights, and your own transformation. Some will be inspired. Others might not be ready. And that's okay. Your light will reach those who are ready to receive it. Another beautiful part of this process is that the more you give, the more you receive. The more you share kindness, wisdom, and love, the more the universe reflects it back to you in ways you never expected. So as you continue walking this path, remember, you are here to live your truth, not to prove it to anyone. You don't need approval. Your intuition is your guide. Your presence alone can inspire change in ways you may never fully see. This is the true power of living in the light, not just for yourself, but for the world. And as you continue to grow, trust, and align with who you truly are, you become a beacon, a reminder to others that they too can step into their power. And that is how transformation spreads, one soul at a time. If there's one lesson to take away from living in the light, it's this. You already have everything you need to live a joyful, fulfilling, and purposeful life. You don't have to search for it outside of yourself. It has been within you all along, quietly waiting for you to notice it. This journey isn't about becoming someone new or fixing yourself. It's about letting go of everything that isn't truly you. The fears, the doubts, the conditioning that has kept you from trusting yourself. It's about listening to your intuition, breaking free from limiting beliefs, embracing your authentic self, and flowing with life instead of constantly fighting against it. So here's my challenge to you. Take one lesson from this book and apply it today. Maybe it's listening to that quiet inner voice instead of overthinking. Maybe it's releasing control and trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it should. Or maybe it's something as simple as giving yourself permission to be fully you. Because small shifts create big transformations. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Bix Book Summary. Your support means the world. And if you'd like to dive deeper into these insights, check out the link in the description to grab your own copy of Living in the Light. Until next time, trust yourself, follow your light, and keep shining.